Huh. Good evening. Breaking news. A large helium-3 deposit has been found in Minnesota, and its concentration is over 5 times higher than that on the moon. Let that sink in. While we applaud the growth of our industry thus far, there's one Earth company that boasts annual revenues higher than our entire industry put together. You'll be surprised to know what that is. My satirical comments aside, a new study indicates we might need lesbian pygmies on Mars after all. Two companies to join forces to develop power systems for deep space. Direct-to-device is still the flavor of the year in the ComSat sector. Stoke Space wants to raise another $500 million for its Nova rocket. The glitterati are all beside themselves with the news that one of their own does not actually want to go into space. It won't be a shock to learn who. And Bezos says the next killer app in the sky will be orbiting gigawatt data centers. Oh boy. This is a look at the quarterly Space IQ report, which just dropped yesterday. From the news desk, which is Center of Space Commerce and Finance, my name is Thomas Andrew Olson, and this is the unknown quantity. Okay, so as you know, this show is sponsored by the Center for Space Commerce and Finance. And what do? We champion and strengthen emerging space startups and space adjacent enterprises worldwide through advisory, access, and advocacy. Our pitch events and world-class boot camps fortify startups to be better investor ready. And a lot of our work, especially this podcast, is supported by our listeners and fans like you. Go to cscf.space/support and click that plain as day donate button. A little tip jar each month makes a big difference. Now, Michael Lane is not with us this evening. I think he's in one of those sweat lodges somewhere in eastern Washington. But if technology permits, my producer, Sean Key, is actually going to join us live. And when he reaches us, we'll have a lovely conversation. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to, whatever the show was, Sean, there he is.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you and see you in real time.
Folks, if you just tuning in, this was not working literally 10 seconds ago.
Well, it's great to see you here, man. What is going on? We have, with you, what's going on? I haven't seen you live in a while.
Yeah, nothing much. I've just been working behind the scenes, doing a lot of writing, of course.
Yep. Not one of yours today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
I think I have a cat that wants to come visit me.
Well, that's fine. Yeah, that's lucky you. I've got a couple of them. They're not running around right now. So,
but yeah, you got you made some interesting comments. I heard about helium-3. I thought that perked my ears because I've written about it a couple of times. And then I read an article today. I think it's the same one you're going to talk about. I had to write a little bit response to it. So
okay, go great.
If you want to jump into it, let's go right ahead.
Absolutely, let's go right ahead. Also, look at this. Yeah, look, yeah, Wes is here, Morty's here, Jason's here. Hi guys.
Awesome. The gang's here. Yeah, the gang's here. It's not the same without them.
Well, I know. Welcome to the conversation, man. This is going to be fun. And so here we go. There's this company called Pulsar, I think it is.
Yep.
They're a helium project development company, and they just announced, like October 1st, actually, that what they call a landmark discovery of helium-3 at its Topaz project in Minnesota. Now, this is the short version. There's a whole link to this. If you guys want to look at it. Laboratory results from their well revealed sustained helium-3 concentrations, and get this, up to 14.5 parts per billion in produced gas. And that places Topaz among the highest accumulation of naturally occurring helium-3 ever publicly reported in a terrestrial gas reservoir
Yep.
worldwide. Now, the average helium-3 content on the moon has been estimated in the regolith between 1.4 and 15 parts per billion, but probably averaging around 4.
Yep.
Helium-3 is important. It's very strategic importance. It's insanely expensive, and it's going to be used for cooling for AI data centers. And one of these days, they keep hoping to use it, for fusion reactions. But
it's also one of the cooling components for quantum computers.
Yep. So this discovery is a big deal. Now, given all the hoopla that's been going on in the helium-3 business on the moon, just in recent weeks, we've actually reported this, where there has been some big money changing hands in that lunar development cycle.
Locking in contracts.
Yep. So, how does that affect that investment now? The discovery of this, is everybody going to sit around and go, well, we don't have to work so hard or work so fast to develop the lunar stuff. We've got this huge source of it sitting right here.
Yeah, well, that's true. I do see that happening, but I also think it's going to take a little while for them to vet this, because this is coming from the company that owns the mine.
Yep.
And they're talking to their investors. When I was reading the article, and I don't see a reason why they should be misleading or anything. But the thing is, it's still got to be, you got to scale to start to bring it to market. And there's a trick. There's issues trying to separate the H4 and the H3 as a gas. From what I've read, I'm not an expert, but that's just from what I read today because I was playing catch up.
Sure. Okay. Because I guess the helium-4 that's in there too is also pretty good in the purity. So
yeah, well, it's actually a much more quantity of helium-4 than is helium-3, and they come together.
Yeah,
but you have to separate them, and
yeah.
and as a gas, that's a little bit different than what you would do on a regular.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's interesting stuff. I think I was kind of bullish because I was looking at the AI impact on space of helium-3, but I also said that if there's a terrestrial find, this will move that timeline. And I had a post.
All right.
Sent out a post about that.
Right. I mean, obviously, since my parent company, Avialto, will always require good supplies of helium-4 for its ongoing operations. Any new source I look at, I'm happy about. In fact, just as an aside, when I was in Australia, I talked with a guy. They were making some big investments in all sorts of infrastructure around the world, and he told me they just started developing a big find, built in a really interesting way in South Africa. And they haven't really put it to market yet. So he says, hey, you guys want some of this? Let me know.
Cool.
That was nice.
Yeah.
Nice to have friends.
Yes, it is. Connected friends, really.
Yeah. Especially connected friends with like lots of money.
Yeah.
Those guys are good. Well, we know it has strategic significance. We know the highlights is this concentration is exceptionally high, and so we'll see how long. I guess, as you say, it's going to matter is, okay, what's the critical timeline now of actually getting this stuff to market?
Yep, that's what I'm looking at. It's an engineering problem, and everybody knows that there's a difference between a scientific problem and an engineering problem. You just need enough iteration and money to engineer the problem solution.
Yeah. And then there's a real difference between an engineering problem and a scientific problem and a social problem.
Yeah.
We've learned that in the space because they always tell you that. They always say, well, if they can send a man on the moon, they can feed little children and this,
Yes.
That's a social problem. That's a political problem. Yeah. Apollo was an engineering challenge, is what that was. And so people don't get that. And Jason's right. Off-worlding will always be a thing.
All right, ready for the next one, sir?
Yes, I am. Uh, it's something Michael sent us earlier today. It's one of those visual capitalist things, and they're ranking America's top companies by revenue over time, year over year, for about the last 70 years. Well, it turns out, I mean, when I was growing up in the 50s and through the 90s, General Motors dominated for about 40 years, leading the revenue rankings. And then during oil boom periods in the 70s, 80s, and 2000s, ExxonMobil overtook GM. But for the last 21 of the last 25 years, the top spot has been held by, ready for it, Walmart. And Walmart today generates 680 billion annually. Now that one company is generating more revenue than our entire industry combined. And so I just want to give folks a perspective. It's like, yeah, we're doing really well. The last time we checked, our industry is about 612 billion year over year, and you know, one big company in the mainstream world beats that, and there's a whole probably a lot more beside. So we still have a ways to go.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
But it just shows you how much capacity we can grow into.
yep, absolutely. Now, I did my snarky joke because I'm always joking about, yes, I'm not going to celebrate lesbian pygmies on the moon, but maybe this study that just came out suggested that maybe I should start thinking about that. It was
I
it
thought that
was
was a show.
yep, it was a Stevens Institute of Technology researchers indicate who you send to Mars matters as much as what you send on the surface. That makes sense. They used probably an AI to help them
Yeah.
do this. The study uses what they called agent-based modeling to probe
Yeah.
how personalities mix and team roles shape stress, health, performance, and cohesion over a
Well,
simulated 500-day mission.
I have issue with that.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and and I'll tell you why. There's two reasons. Number one, pressure test.
yep,
I'm a big believer in pressure tests,
absolutely.
and you don't see people at their best when it comes to working. You don't see how they handle stress whenever they're freshly fed. They get along with everybody. Hi, I'm doing good. I'm Steve. How you doing, John?
Uh-huh.
I'm the pilot. I'm the engineer. You need to see how people are when they're like, "You SOB. We got some things we got to talk about." That's what you need. You got to be
Yep,
able, especially in a life and death situation, because you're going to
right.
operate in an environment where you can make a mistake and people die. No,
Yep,
I'm sorry. A simulation, like a digital simulation, ain't going to cover it. The military does it. They put people together that sometimes you don't get along, but you can still accomplish the mission. The
right.
CIA has a program where they do the four animals
Yep.
for how to build a team.
We Since 1945, we've had probably 200 war movies based on that very principle.
Mm-hmm.
It's and also the 500-day. Why do they always pick that benchmark 500-day model? Because half the people that are going to go to Mars after the first few explorations are going to go there to stay. They're
Yeah.
going there to settle. We're talking 5,000 days or 50,000 days, not 500. And
Yeah.
so I don't know where this takes you in the end.
I don't know. It maybe just gives you a starting point to test. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what this is supposed to be. Anything that's done in research in a lab, it goes back to the term. My factors that I use in figuring out the risk factors for technology. One of those is environmental. How do you operate in environment? How does this technology operate in environment? Same thing with human beings. How do they operate in an environment? But you can do one thing in a lab. It's not going to be the same thing out in the real world.
true. It never is. All right, what is going on now? Okay. Yeah. And Jason says isolated in Utah is not the same thing. That is true.
Yeah,
Isn't that where the Mars Desert Research Center is?
I
They
think
have a
so. Yeah, I think
yeah,
so.
Orem, Utah, I think is
Yeah,
where
I
they
want to
still
send
use.
them. I want to send them to Antarctica.
Yeah. Well, I don't
So,
know. Devon, they still have the one in Devon Island, I thought.
yeah, I think so too. I
They
saw
do
that
there.
a little while ago, but I
Yeah.
really want to go to a harsh climate where you cannot make a mistake. You
Yep.
have to be on your P's and Q's
Yep.
and stay there for a long period of time. So
Dry valleys. Yeah. The dry valleys would be
yeah,
perfect.
that'll be an eye opener for a lot of people.
Even people who've done it before.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, no, I just wanted to throw that out there as kind of almost a joke because I have this ongoing joke that the biggest problem you're going to have if somebody accidentally misgenders the person whose job it is to clean the CO2 scrubbers, and they just quit. That's
Oh,
oh, that's my bizarre humor. I'll let that go, and we'll just move on, shall we?
well, the most interesting job would be the window washer.
Yeah. Well, it'd really be a window sweeper, wouldn't
Yeah.
it? All
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
dust things blowing
Yeah,
around
but
on
you know
Mars.
we're gonna transpose a lot of Earth sayings with this, and just
Yep.
it's close enough.
Yeah, it's close enough. Yeah, but they'll send a guy out there though with a broom, and
Yeah,
he'll be brooming off the thing.
uh,
Oh god, yeah. Um, all right, what else have we got? Oh, this should be interesting. I mean, this is something that needs to happen, and it turns out a couple of folks are doing it. Um, there's a company called Space Ocean and another one called the Space Nuclear Power Corporation, or Space Nukes for short. And they're signed an LOI to team up on exploring integration of advanced nuclear reactor technology into future deep space missions. Um,
hmm,
we've only done this a little bit, like that Saturn probe. Well, actually, we've put kind of passive nuclear on a lot of things, including the Voyager probes and the Pioneer spacecraft and Cassini. You get past a certain place and in the solar system, and solar power just kind of reaches a point of diminishing returns.
yeah.
You got to do something. We can it's useful on Mars.
Hmm.
We could even make a case for. In fact, I've made this case before. I'm a big skeptic when it comes to space solar power. Always have been, just
Right.
because it's going to take so long and cost so much. But as a way to jumpstart a small settlement on the moon or Mars, you could put a few smaller, a couple of Falcon Heavy launches. You send a couple of power sats, beaming power either from the moon or Mars to a small, Rectenna setup in that little settlement. There's probably no more than 50 to 100 people sitting there. That would probably power all of it just fine
Right.
until you get some nukes in there or you do some other things.
Yeah.
But it's something. It wouldn't be that. It might not be that expensive to set up, and it would just kind of jumpstart the power grid in a way where at least the early settlers wouldn't have that to worry about. They've got other things to worry about. But I like the idea they're working on this, and they've got some. They're going to build some traction soon. I hope. Um, isn't there another experiment in Mongolia? Says Jason.
I think he's talking about the Mars.
The Mars research stations. That would not surprise me. Well, we should be having some fun in about 3 years. There is the IAC in 2028 will be in Uzbekistan.
Oh, that's official now.
Yeah, it is official.
Cool.
I even helped vote for it. So it was that should be a very, very interesting experience just for the exploration part of it alone, not just the conference, but to go looking around at stuff.
Right.
They got some interesting things going. So anyway, Space Ocean's vision aligns with our belief that small, scalable, extremely reliable nuclear power is essential for long duration missions. So, well, they just announced this recently. They got an LOI, and we're going to, and they have mutual goals to integrate fluid logistics with reactor modules and gather operational data towards achieving a technology readiness level 9. I don't know what the scale looks like. Do you? I mean, what does level 1 look like versus level 9?
For the technology?
Yeah, technology readiness level 9 is obviously somebody set up the scale. I'm just curious what it means.
Right. So that's close to being deployable is way now I think NASA has termed it.
Okay.
I used NASA's scale, but I invert it because I have to use a scoring system to help me figure out risk categories.
Right.
And so instead of going 1 to 10, 10 being it's deployable, I just do it in reverse, which helps me. And then I weight it compared to other factors, and then that helps me get an adjusted rated risk premium.
Okay.
So you've read some of my work on the tier method. So
absolutely.
So that's
in,
kind of
in your scale. 1 is actually good and deployable, and 10 is like, this is risky as hell, man.
Yeah, because if you got a risky proposition, if you got a risky asset, your premium's going to be higher.
Yep.
So I use that to help me figure out the premium, the scale to help me figure out the premium.
Sure.
So, but I can't do it in the opposite way because the better it gets, the higher the score goes. So that's kind of reverse.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Now, moving on to communications, the reason people send satellites into space. Walt Anderson and I often joke that the direct to device has become the flavor of the month and maybe the flavor of the year. And in certain areas, it doesn't always make economic sense. I mean, the platforms that we're building are doing full-blown Wi-Fi and mobile backhaul, for example. But this stuff is still going on, and these big guys want to spend a lot of money on it, so that's what they're doing. In this case, an outfit called AST Space Mobile, and they're building what they call the first and only space-based cellular broadband network directly accessible by standard smartphones. Is the key there. They've signed a commercial agreement with Verizon, one of the biggest delivery services in the Americas, to deliver direct to cellular service for Verizon customers beginning next year. So they must be a technology readiness level 9.
If they say so.
Yep. But it integrates their terrestrial mobile network and its premium 850 megahertz low band spectrum and AST Space Mobile's next generation satellite constellations. And they're supposed to enable seamless connectivity for everybody everywhere without the need for specialized hardware. Well, more power to them. They're licensing the L and S band spectrum. I get that, but not C, not KU, not KA. Well, it's we'll see how that works. There's a variety. I know they had one milestone. They placed what they called a crystal clear voice over LTE call via a Bluebird satellite to another Verizon device in New Jersey, and they demonstrated all this. So we'll see if that works out. I use Verizon for my normal cellular service.
Right.
So I guess my question is, will I actually notice a difference in connectivity and quality here in Central Florida? I do not know.
I don't know. The real test will be when the storms come in.
Yeah, absolutely. Now there's I don't know. I mean, they're using supposedly standard types of protocols. I mean, they're not the first company to do this. There's a company that's growing at an amazing rate called Link.
Mm-hmm.
You can maybe know about them. They're actually one of the founders is like a good friend of ours, and so they've been doing this for a while. But right. I don't think it's exactly the same standard service as you do with a smartphone. So there's a lot of room in that market for a whole lot of things.
Yeah, but I do think. I think there's a place for it, but I do think what you guys are doing at Aviato is. It definitely is going to fit a need for a lot of customers in places that can't afford this type of service.
Yeah, Right. They can't afford. Yeah, they can't afford Starlink, but they can afford maybe 1/4 to 1/3 of Starlink
Yeah.
and have a good service delivered, and we still make money. So
Yeah. Exactly.
that
Exactly.
I'm working on, and
And
we're making.
my only concern is that years ago I used to work for DirecTV, and I did the computers part as an advanced tech.
Uh-huh.
That is the worst thing in the world. I'm like, I'll never own one of these. So it just makes me wonder how well that's going to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Interestingly, one of our investors over at Starbridge Capital, the head of that company, he lives in Wisconsin
Mm-hmm.
most days, and he's getting his service from Hughes. Now, Hughes is like the most hated satellite delivery company in the world,
Yes.
and uh, and he says he can only get any kind of a fraction of some kind of stable service after 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So that's what he ends up doing his work.
Yeah. It just is. I just if you're doing it for something for communication, you're probably going to be fine. But if you're doing it for complex tasks or playing games or whatever, you're gonna have issues.
Yeah, a lot of it,
Yeah.
or even not games, just video stuff, just trying to
Yeah.
get streaming video from someplace.
Yeah. This will be impossible.
Right. Watch the rugby match in Australia.
Yeah.
You
Watch
know.
the unknown quantity. No, it's not happening.
Well, it almost didn't happen, 28 minutes ago.
Yeah, I
So
know,
it's
I know.
we're
I
still.
hit it with a hammer.
Good, good. The old Alan Bean trick, just
Yeah.
count on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Dr. Cathari had made a comment about the TRL, and he's break it down
Yeah.
for us. TRL1 is conceptual analysis. 2 includes some CFD. 3 to 4 are wind tunnel confirmed. 4 or 5 are prototype vehicles. By 7, your operational. 8 and 9 is likely early airplanes. 10 is final.
Uh-huh.
TRL0 is back of the envelope.
Back of the envelope. That's where we live most days. I
Yeah.
know.
That's how we get the show off the ground.
That's how we get the show going.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, I get to go and pull my hair out tomorrow trying to figure out Monday show.
Well, you have some left.
Yeah.
Thing,
Yeah.
why do you think I wear this hat? You have some.
I thought it was for the show.
Well, it's for the show. This is,
Yeah.
it's a good. I think it's a good look. I need more hats though. So now, since this show is supposed to be about the intersection of space and money, we have some space and money.
All right.
There's a company right in Michael's backyard, but he wouldn't know today because he's still sitting in the sweat lodge.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's called Stoke Space. I never heard of them until a few weeks ago, but they've already raised a whole bunch in a funding round, but now they're saying they're going to raise hundreds of millions more, maybe another 500 million.
Yeah.
And no one never knew who they were a year ago. Now all of a sudden they're going to get all this funding, and supposedly their value will be at 2 billion.
Yeah, twice as much as what they were quoted in January.
Yeah, by PitchBook. Yeah. And the lead investor is Thomas Tull's U.S. Innovative Technology Fund. Okay. They're true believers, those guys. They already did short hop tests of an upper stage 2 years ago. The first stage boosters and latter stage of development. So they've got the pieces. I guess they want to raise the rest of it so they can finally put it all together and get that thing off the ground. I'm looking at this thing. They've got a little video here. It's kind of cool. Okay. That's so I just want to know where their facility was. They have a big facility in Kent, Washington, which is not far from Blue Origin, and a test facility at Moses Lake. But the launch facility is in Florida, which actually makes more sense. I want to know where they were launching from. But okay. Yeah. All right. And so.
Yeah. We'll let
it's
everybody.
all about laying. It's all about laying infrastructure in space. And so, and there's plenty of room still in all that industry for everything, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But Stoke is stoked. They're going to get another 500 mil.
Yeah, I have to sit down and figure out what gap they're going to fill in. I mean, you got
Yeah.
SpaceX that's dominating a certain sector of the launch industry. I just got to sit down and take a look at their model.
Well, it makes, because it does raise the question: has SpaceX gotten so far of a lead that no one's going to be able to catch them?
I don't know though. I was thinking about that earlier this week.
Is
I'm
it,
not quite 100% certain that somebody will catch them. Blue Origin seems to be content doing what they're doing right now. To tell you the truth.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. They take their time.
yeah.
Bezos takes his time.
But SpaceX is they're chugging along. Are you really going to have somebody who's bound and determined at least soak up some of that market that they have captured
Yeah.
and try to take them on? And I don't know if somebody has the risk. Speaking of risk, the capacity for that kind of risk financially or with business, because you really are going to have to take on some risk to try to catch up with them.
Well, the closest one that probably can do that right now, eventually, it might be Rocket Lab.
Could be, could be, but they got to get. I have to see an acceleration on their development.
Right. Well, I haven't seen an acceleration of any kind from Blue Origin in a while.
I know.
So they'd be the close. Everybody's rooting for them as the closest guys who try to take on Musk. And New Glenn flew once. Well, it needs to fly 10 more times in rapid succession to get anybody to start believing in that.
Well, they're content taking tourists to space. Not everybody wants to go, but I mean,
yeah, there is a we're coming to that. There is a they did double down on their flight rate for the new Shepard
right.
to make suborbital flights. But one person who said absolutely positively amongst the Hollywood elite that I do not want to go to space. That sounds awful. Why would I ever do it? And you could probably guess who it is. It is Taylor Swift. He says, I have absolutely no reason of doing that. She's going to completely pass.
I'm not bothered by that. I think it's a very common reaction from a lot of people. No, I'm good with keeping my feet on the ground. When I tell people I used to jump out of planes, they're like, "What's wrong with you?"
Jumping out of a perfectly good airplane. What's
when I tell them I plan on doing it with my Army buddies in Mount Dora in the lake next year, they're like, "What is wrong with you?"
Because you can land in the lake at Mount Dora, and it's not filled with alligators, unlike Lake Jessup. Yeah. So no one's diving over that one anytime soon. I was just looking to see if all the Swifties are going to go nuts now and go, and start having. No, you should fly. You should do it.
I doubt it. They'll probably be in line with her and go, "No, I wouldn't go. I wouldn't go."
Yeah, there are no Swifties in our audience, so yeah. But she had to go out of her way.
Oh, somebody probably asked her
to say that,
Somebody probably had to ask her.
Yeah, somebody. She's on this show. Okay, she was on BBC Radio 2. So he was on the Scott Mills does a breakfast show interview, which aired this last Monday. And so, okay, that's how that came out. So we'll see what becomes of that. If there is any like ripple effect, I don't know if there is or not. Okay, last thing. I guess it's inevitable. Giant gigawatt orbital data centers empowered by sunlight. I guess his argument is orbital data centers is they're self-powered. It'd be self-powered with solar, and that's the best way to satisfy tech industry's need for more power to fuel advances in artificial intelligence. And I can see where he's coming from about cloud computing leaving Earth behind, because there was some because we talked about this earlier, there was some outfit that wanted to actually raise money to build a 10 gigawatt data center
Yeah.
somewhere. Never mind the fact that the purpose of that AI data center is like to track every move you make, probably. But that aside, there's just not enough in the grid to support that. I mean the biggest power generators we have, whether they're nuclear, coal fired, whatever they are, won't produce more than a gigawatt at a time. So you need 10 of those to power this thing. So what do? Does everyone else have to go through brownouts to satisfy this thing's insatiable need?
Well, yeah, that's true.
And it raises the question, what are we doing this all for? But
well, we obviously are data consuming. We consume data more than we do oil. That's and that's what this is turning into. Is data is this millennium, this century's oil.
Well, except you can't run your car with it.
True, you can't run your car, but you can run a bank account. You can run bank accounts.
Yeah.
And that's a lot different. Look at Bitcoin. Look at blockchain.
Yeah.
There's value in that, and that takes up energy. So, there's a problem with latency if you transmit information back from orbit. But as a storage place, I see, and as an infrastructure for just operating in space, I think is natural progression in the infrastructure. I'm very bullish. I'm actually very bullish on that part right there.
Sure, that makes perfect sense. I've got this app now. It's called, it's not Sky Scanner. It's called Sky something. But I finally it allows me to see where the planets and stars are and anything. I turn on this app and I aim it up at a portion of the sky, and it'll tell you in real time. Okay, that bright thing you're looking at over there. Oh, that's Jupiter. And I'll show you a picture of Jupiter. And there's a star over here, and here's here's a constellation, and this and that and the other. And then if I got the paid version, which allows me also to see where Uranus and Neptune are in the night sky. But the one feature that paid version has that the original did not, it tracks space junk.
Oh,
crap tons of space junk. And you can go in and you can see these little things. They all have the same icon, the shape of like a spinning, spent upper stage, right? That's what it looks like. And you go in and you click on this, and it'll tell you what it was and when it was launched.
Cool.
And it's still sitting up there. And I saw something. It was like some kind of upper stage Atlas thing that had been launched in 1963.
Wow.
It's still up there. And so when I think about big data centers in space, you have to be concerned about, you got to plot the 62-year-old spent Atlas upper stage possibly running into it.
Yeah.
Because the bigger you build these things,
right,
the more you have to look out for that. I mean, the ISS right now does little jinking maneuvers all the time to get out of the way of something.
I mean, I would like to see in the future like maybe a documentary of a Sanford Son style junk man up there.
That include the Ripple.
Yep. beat up rocket ship. Well, let's pick this up.
Right. He's sipping on this stuff, Yeah.
Said I'm gonna knock you to the moon. I'm gonna knock you back down to Earth. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think I can't remember if it was Chinese or Koreans. They actually did make a movie about something like that. Guys who cleaned up garbage.
I think
I've got that somewhere. I'm gonna have to remember the name of it. I haven't watched it yet. But it looked like a lot of fun.
You see, that's the thing I always like. I like the boring jobs. I like the junk man. I like the window washer,
Sure.
That's how most people are going to get to go anywhere, is going to work somewhere.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah. A lot of these guys. Yes. It went all the way back to Highline, have Spacesuit Will Travel, those kind of books. Yeah, that's what it was. He always wrote stories about farm guys, going to Ganymede to grow stuff, or guys who did just scut work somewhere, went off to the moon or went off to somewhere else. A lot of his youth novels were based on that kind of stuff. Just average Joes having above average adventures.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much my whole history.
Yep.
I was an average guy, come from a farm country. I mean, I was 18 years old. My first duty assignment in the Army was Berlin, Germany. I got there November 6th of 1989.
Yeah.
2 days before the wall opened up. And somewhere in that massive humanity and all those pictures, there's my dumb, drunk 18-year-old butt showing out.
Well, you got to see some history.
Yes, I was there for 3 years. I was there for the Great Party from 1989 to 92 for reunification. Yeah, I had a blast.
Wow. Now, here's an interesting question. Wes is chiming in. Since we mentioned the tracking of an Atlas rocket, any thoughts on 31 Atlas? The big whatever it is that's hurtling in and out of our solar system, in and through and going out the other side. I'll be interested in seeing if was that the Juno probe at Jupiter? It was supposed to, because that thing was at the end of its useful life.
Right.
And NASA said, that thing is going to come awfully close to Jupiter. Maybe we can give Juno one more task and turn it around and aim the cameras, out there toward that thing and see if we can get a close-up of it. And until they prove different, I just think it's a big rock coming from outside our solar system and passing through.
Making us commute back home.
Yeah, or wherever, or home, or maybe we never had a home for 5 billion years. And it's been just, it might have a memory for all that travel. I don't know. Yeah. That'd be, we always want to see this thing turn out to be something artificial. That would be insanely, wild. Of course, at the speed that it's going, by the time we figured out how to send people to it, it'd be long gone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that'd be the problem with that. Yeah, it'd be Rama 2. He's saying, that's my novel series, Rendezvous with Rama. Arthur Clarke wrote it. It was a similar kind of a story of an artificial thing that, went through. They did send a probe to it, and humans explored it. And it was a great novel, make a great movie. They don't make good science fiction anymore.
No, they don't. It's all superheroes.
But I got 500 books on my shelf that said, any one of which would make a great movie. No one will consider those because I guess, these Hollywood morons.
Yeah, I like the low budget science fiction. I told you one of my favorite movies was Moon.
Yeah, that was a great movie. I
love that movie. Sam Rockwell just killed it in the movie too.
He absolutely did. Okay, we got a little time. Why do 45 minutes? See, time flies when you're having fun, man.
Having fun.
Look at this. We
get somebody on here.
We don't have we didn't have a guest. I thought we just talk about news and do shit. So
having a good time.
Yep, I'm having a good time. So the Q3 Space IQ report was just dropped like yesterday from Space Capital, and so it's a nice little report. It's about 19 pages long, and it checks out stuff across the whole industry quarter over quarter, and it's a pretty interesting thing. But I guess for our audience, I would probably say, okay, why should we care? Who are these guys? Well, it turns out they're a seed stage VC firm. They've had over 400 million AUM investing at the intersection of space tech and global markets. They have a huge track record of pioneering investment in this category. And because they have partners with deep operational expertise, people who've actually built advanced rockets and satellites, founded successful space companies, driven major exits. including the $500 million sale of Skybox Imaging to Google. And so what they do is they in their report they break down private investment in the space economy into three key categories, thinking that through that they will provide a holistic view of the commercial ecosystem, and they are infrastructure, distribution, and applications. And so from infrastructure, they say, oh, this is the hardware and software to build, launch, and operate. Distribution is hardware and software to connect, process, and manage data from space-based assets. One of the biggest ones they point to, of course, is GPS, which is enabling trillion-dollar companies now, and Earth observation data management platforms. And then you drill down even more granular, and you get back down to applications. Now, that's just specialized hardware and software that utilizes the data from space-based assets, such as rideshare services, agricultural data analytics, geographic intelligence, Internet of Things, sensor monitoring, SATCOM, and even parametric weather insurance. And so you have companies like Uber and Anduril and Arbol as kind of examples of that. Now, Q3 alone saw 5.8 billion in new investments across 115 companies, and 87% of that is VC driven. So they're already ahead of last year. In the last 12 months, 49 billion have been invested in startups, early stage companies. But the nice part about this, they don't just talk about what's going in, they talk about what's going out. And that's and 20 some odd years ago when we were first talking about this stuff, no one dared to talk about an exit because that seemed like such a pipe dream at the time. But now we're seeing it all the time. Just this last quarter alone, there were 33.2 billion in exits spread across 29 deals. 26 mergers and acquisitions, and 3 IPOs. So for our industry, our small growing industry, that's quite a lot.
Yeah, but we still suffer from extended periods of time between initial funding to exit.
Yeah,
that's one of the problems that I've noticed that VCs are having with their LPs are having with VCs.
True.
And it's part of it's technology, part of it is strategically holding off for you either find a merging partner or hopefully getting picked up. But then you only got so many people that are capable to merge with you or capable to pick you up. So that there's an issue there because traditionally it's about 7 years.
Right.
You invest in it, and then but if you go 14 years, that's the reason why they're getting upset. And there's a big and some of the VCs I've come across, it's just like we're having a hard time.
Yeah. So. Well, we knew that was going to happen before they even started investing. We were saying, we were asking the question a long time ago, how are you going to get money out of VCs? They're going to want 10x for exit within 5 to 7 years.
Exactly, and it's not happening.
Yeah.
So some people.
Well, trust me, in 1999, no one could make that business case. So the fact that some people are making a business case now and are even getting to actual exits is thrilling to me.
Yeah. But I mean, truth is, we still have an infrastructure that is developing.
Yeah.
And so even though it's not the investment's lasting longer, there is still a tangible product there at the end. My issue with the report, though, is how they were kind of compared the exits like Uber and Lyft with, well, this is pretty much infrastructure.
Yeah.
And this is not the same. I wouldn't use this category, Uber and Lyft or any application as a comparison to this type of, because it's such false expectations.
Right. But the interesting part is the geo-int sector, which is what companies like Uber depend on, the geographical interest
Yeah.
investment. In the last 5 years, investment in that particular subsector has surged from 1 billion in 2020 to a record 21.6 billion as of the end of third quarter of this year.
Right.
And so, and Google launched something called the Alpha Earth Foundation in this quarter. They said it was a pivotal event, creating a planetary scale model from all the data. And so they using AI to accelerate the industry's architectural shift from pixels to embeddings. And now it's getting over my head. Replacing brittle bespoke models with a queryable learned representation of the Earth. So
you just spoke Swahili to me.
I did. I know. I barely, can figure this out myself. And I was in IT for 31 years. So, but they're saying all that money and all the stuff they do, it doesn't solve GeoAI, but it does validate the category and creates a foundational layer for something else. And now the value chain is reforming around this stuff. The whole value chain is reforming around intelligent representations and not just the raw pixels like they used to do. So, but they think all this stuff leaves investors. Defense demand is the near-term engine. Dual use is the fastest route to revenue. Infrastructure is investable again, but must tie programs of record, spectrum, or other moats.
Yeah.
Okay. And Starlink and Kuiper scales are going to deepen, direct to consumer when they can. Good luck. They're going to start stitching, and they're doing it already, terrestrially. They're going to stitch AI outputs into enterprise workflows and mission systems. It's going to affect everybody, and it's going to do. And so exits are going to skew towards consolidation, selective IPOs, and multiples that reward operating cadence over simple narratives. So it's all about execution, which is, a no-brainer to say something like that.
Jason has an interesting comment. There's a wider platform, and with the consistency of China walking it forward, who will decide the future of space? Future developers.
Yeah. He also talked about quantum positioning, which is, I guess, he's kind of suggesting that that's going to be the replacement maybe for GPS. It'll be the next big thing.
Yeah.
Everything's quantum or AI anymore.
Yeah, it's the next iteration of technology. It makes me wonder, though. I didn't think about this today while I was writing up my response about the Q3, but the impact. Germany had just announced that $41 billion American dollars over 5 years. They're going to invest in their space defense.
Okay.
And then other countries like UK, France, Italy, Poland, they were mentioned in the same article I was reading. They're looking at doing something similar. And even if they don't match what Germany's projected to do, say they do half of that each, which is, kind of reasonable. That's $20 billion each. That's another 80 billion right there. So you're talking about a little bit over $120 billion coming out of the European Union for space defense. I see them seeing themselves as also a block against China.
Yeah, that would make sense. I'm looking at, there's a lot of infrastructure data. I mean, but there's they say the top deals this quarter are stuff you probably haven't heard of: Galactic Energy, G-Space, Castellian, Hadrian. They've all doing Series B, C's, and D's, and doing hundreds of millions at each turn, and multiple rounds. I saw something I looked at earlier this evening, and I wanted to see it again. Not applications, but the path to exit. Oh, this is it. It was acquisition volume. I saw this thing. It's on page 15. On the upper right, there's this chart, and it shows the just the acquisition volume. Did you know that 2018 was like the biggest year almost in history for acquisition volume in the number of in terms of the number of rounds and the total amount? But 2025 is shaping up to give 2018 a good run, and a lot of it's in applications. A little bit distribution and the rest in infrastructure. So that's still growing. We got another quarter to go to see if it's gonna catch the record or break it. But a lot more applications this time around than it was before, which I find interesting. So, and it's GPS stuff. It's like outfits like Food Panda, who I never heard of, or Just Eat, or Trimble. They've made numbers of I guess they're number 30 on the source of acquisitions, but they're it's all GPS and geo int giants, and they're driving activity with, again, a focus on multimodal sensor aggregation and 3D spatial creation. So this is where it's going.
Oh, it's good. I like numbers. I don't like him like my son. He's getting his PhD in astrophysics.
Okay.
But
all right,
out in Vegas, the Air Force sent him there to get his PhD in astrophysics.
Okay. All right.
So
there's also a really interesting chart that kind of tells you where everything's going, just in a gross way, and maybe we'll kind of leave it with that. It's page 17, and it shows in the upper half above the fold those three tech layers I talked about going horizontally: applications, distribution, and infrastructure. But then it divides it vertically in subclasses like launch, satellites, and you'll see lots of examples of that. So infrastructure, Rocket Lab and SpaceX are the only ones mentioned. But then they have this section over on the right side that says emerging industries, and those verticals are stations, lunar, logistics, and industrials. And 3 out of the 4 of those, they're only building infrastructure. So lunar outpost, Astrobotic, VAST, Varda, Redwire. Only in the logistics area do you have in emerging industries, do you have an AWS in the distribution cycle, or Kahan space and applications. But there's a lot of ways to go with the emerging industries. But apparently, what this is telling me that at least the emerging infrastructure is well on its way, and we'll see what's built out of that, what they build on that.
Yeah. Jason's put down climate control. It's a climate management system, Jason. You got to use the politically correct words.
There you go. Climate control. Yeah, I got that in my house.
Yeah.
Come on, I need it.
Yeah, here in Florida, yeah.
It still hasn't cooled to fall levels yet. It's getting there, but by later in the month, we'll see that.
Well, stop feeling like a blowtorch when you walk outside at 10 o'clock. So
that's huge. That is absolutely huge. Yeah. Okay. And we just hit the time. Look at us.
Look at there.
We got all the way through it. And guys, we got people visiting, and come again. This is going to be a lot more fun.
Oh, yeah. That was awesome. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, great. Absolutely. Thanks.
Enjoy having you. We really do appreciate it. You guys gave us great questions and gave us great information, and we really do appreciate it.
And speaking of that, I got 2 things to say to finish up. And once again, we have no guest scheduled for Monday, but I know you're working on that, Sean. I'm going to help you. I just talked to a whole bunch of people in Australia, and I'm going to reach out to them in the next couple of days and say, hey, how would you like to be on our show? Yeah. And we'll see what they say. We're going to get somebody in there. I'm confident.
And real quick, for the people that seen it on LinkedIn, there was a show scheduled Monday with a guest, but unfortunately he had to pull out at the last minute. And so I understand things happen.
Yep. And so that's how that works. But, 2 things. 1, So right now we have no guests scheduled, so we might end up with the usual hearsay, innuendo, and general tomfoolery over items in the news. As always, 8 p.m. Eastern. But don't forget, a week from today, and send us your ideas on this. We're going to have our first anniversary show for the Unknown Quantity. Can you believe it's been a year since we started doing this? And we should celebrate that somehow. Maybe invite everyone who's ever been a guest and just come in and have a free for all, you know?
But it's BYOB.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. And Michael should be back with us on Monday, and
Yes.
that'll be great to see him. I don't know if he's moving. He's going to be moving.
He
Maybe.
should be out of his sauna by then.
Yeah. He's moving closer to his mom, which made perfect sense.
Yeah.
But so for best wishes for Michael and for everybody and for Sean Key, I am Thomas Andrew Olson. Keep watching the skies. They're out there. We're waiting.